This is Dr. Benzinger on Health with secondopinion.org, and today we're going to be covering the 10 most common nutritional deficiencies that you and your family more than likely suffer from or have some problems with within your family unit. What we know is any individual nutritional deficiency that continues for the right period of time may be the cause of the disease or the symptoms that you suffer from today. So are the 10 most common nutritional deficiencies actually important? Very important, because we think that the nutritional deficiencies that exist in the United States of America today are much greater than what we have thought before, and probably go well beyond this top 10 list. Here's the top 10 list. Folic acid, essential fatty acids, omega-3 fish oils. There's probably something you think along that line when we say essential fatty acids. Essential amino acids, proteins, magnesium, calcium, zinc, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, vitamin C, and vitamin D. Without further ado, we almost immediately try to look at the difference between natural comparison to synthetic. And I always try to show this picture only because this picture gives us a relevant idea of, if you look at the left-hand side, on the top you see ascorbic acid, the form that most of you actually get vitamin C in, while if you look at the bottom left, natural vitamin C actually shows up. You see the same thing for real orange juice comparison to the popular orange drink, etc., etc. You see that those that are a little bit closer to the way God made them seem to be much more lively, much more colorful, and much more dense in nutrients. That's the bottom line. That's where all that color comes from. So the bottom line is the ways that you want to get these nutrients are in the most natural form possible, which is food first. Number two, if you are going to supplement, know how to supplement wisely. If you've not looked up our vitamin and mineral seminar list, you'll be able to see anywhere from 8 to 10 minute vignettes on each one of the nutrients so that you know which form to get them in, purchase them in, which form not to purchase them in, their interactions with medications you might have, the foods that you can get them in, and some of the what they call synergistic nutrients that should be with them. So what I also show is, here's just a picture of broccoli. And the reason why I show broccoli, if you look at the list of items that are in it, that's why I say get them in the most natural source, which is by far getting them by diet. If you look at an apple, the exact same thing happens. When you look at the list of an apple, it's inordinate. It is a long list of things that we can't supplement you for. That's why if it's in a natural form and it's healthy and it's been produced in the appropriate way, that is the best way to get it, okay? Our first on the list is folic acid, something called folacin. It's a member of the B complex vitamins. The food sources: barley, beef, egg yolk, chicken, oranges, dates, carrots, green leafy vegetables. There's others, but these are primary. And some of the conditions that this can help. And remember, this is a vignette of the 10 most common. It's not going to cover it in as much depth as we would if you pick up one of our seminars, and those are short vignettes also, but on each individual item. So you might have one that has special interest. Folic acid should be, because it's a key deficiency in the United States as well as many other places in the world. Conditions it may help: abnormal pap smears, heart disease, Crohn's disease, depression, diarrhea, gingivitis or periodontal disease of the teeth or the gums, high cholesterol, which is popular today, osteoporosis, pregnancy support, and vitiligo, and I can't say enough about pregnancy support in that area. Number two on the list, essential fatty acids, okay? There's three main classes of fats. You'll see them up here: saturated fats, which come from lard, butter, visible fat on steak as examples; monounsaturated fats like olive oil, canola, almond oil, or avocados; and polyunsaturated fats, vegetable oil such as corn oil. The bottom one you'll find is one that I discourage use unless you get them in dark containers instead of light containers, because frankly they end up being hydrolyzed anyhow. They're not very healthy. They're actually healthy if you get them in pure form. The problem is most people, when they buy them out of the normal grocery store, buy them in the pretty clear bottle, and the problem is sunlight and things like that have already denatured those into a form that's probably more harmful than helpful. So olive oil and canola oil is a safer way to go. The essential oils that we want you to consider is omega-6, which by the way is plentiful in the diet. However, it's called alpha linoleic acid, ALA. It's essential for the body. It's found in all cooking oils, and it's found in grass and certain cold water plankton as well as algae. And how do you get it? It's short in our diet. It's really a big issue. Not the omega-6, but as much as the omega-3s, because you kind of see there's a list here. Omega-6 on the left, it's in cooking oils, and there's no shortage of it. You look at omega-3s, and there's a major shortage. Unless you're taking fish oils to supplement, or you have a very large fish diet, you're going to find that you're going to be short on these areas. Those that eat a lot of grain-fed animals are not going to get omega-3 oils, but if they're grass-fed animals, specifically cows, let's say, in other words, more organic, but more importantly, that they're grass-fed, they're going to have omega-3 acids in there. In fact, what we found out is when you look at the turn of the century, just eating off the farm, chickens, eggs, and meat that was grown on the farm, and the only thing they had were fields. They didn't feed them their grain, okay? Had high amounts of omega-3 oils, in fact about 1,500 milligrams per day. Right now we're ending up at about 150 milligrams per day, and omega-3 oils make a huge difference in heart disease, in cancer, and many other conditions. So keep that in mind. If you kind of look at this picture, I only like to show it because for beauty issues, for skin, for pliability of tissue, it's these oils that intermesh between that light blue and dark blue area that actually make your skin supple and soft. So the more that you eat French fries and get something called trans fatty acids in your diet, the more likely you are to have crusty, forgive me, not crusty, it could be crusty, couldn't it? But not as soft and it's not as pliable of skin, okay? So the imbalance between omega-3 and omega-6, which is part of most of the things that are in the marketplace, you are not going to need to give a lot of extra omega-6s. You need to work hard on omega-3s. What we know is industrialized countries show this pattern of omega-3 and omega-6 ratios getting completely out of balance and disease elevating. Is it the only cause? No, but is it a possibility that it's contributing? Highly likely in these cases, okay? Essential fatty acids are a precursor to something called eicosanoids, and eicosanoids are really important because eicosanoids are produced in your liver and they're stored in your cell membranes. The important part is these are pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory factors. In other words, in everything that I teach, I always tell people you control inflammation in your body or swelling in your body on a cellular level and a general body system. You've done something remarkable because those people don't have disease processes. Inflammation is a big issue. Well, eicosanoids are the precursors to something called prostaglandins 1, prostaglandins 2. And fish oils actually encourage the good prostaglandins and discourage the bad prostaglandins, while over amounts of omega-6s, such as French fries, actually propagates disease, propagates asthma, allergic reactions, and things like this. And that's why it's coming out in the United States as a big issue. We've been talking about it for almost 30 years, okay? But if we are using fish oils, and if you can't take fish oils, flax is then possibly the next option. It's not the preferred, but it's the next option. And they're making some fish oils such that they don't regurgitate, help you digest them better for those that have had them regurgitate and tasted them and then couldn't take them anymore, okay? By the way, cod liver oil is not an omega-3 oil. It's more vitamin A than omega-3s, okay? It's salmon fish oils that give you the omega-3 oils, just to clarify that for you. So some of the benefits you want to look at, 20 to 30% drop in triglycerides. We know cholesterol seems to improve with omega-3 oils. Energy levels seem to get better. You're really run down and tired. You pop about 12 of those in a day. You don't have to worry about drug interactions and many things. It's really good for you. Decreases pain and inflammation, improves asthma symptoms. Wouldn't that be a better way to treat your child if that was a possibility, or yourself, instead of always doing the pump that you know has side effects long term? Improves skin conditions, eye dryness conditions, eczema, and psoriasis, okay? So that was kind of a long one in this snippet, but it's an important one. Essential proteins, there's 9 essential proteins that you need to know about. You're seeing them kind of fire up here on your screen at this point. We're not going to cover them, we're covering them more of as in general than a specific. Again, you just look at our 9 essential proteins seminar. It's about 9 minutes long. It'll tell you almost everything you need to know about it. But what we know is one missing essential protein stops cell healing. So for your vegetarians and people like that, this is a really big issue. So many factors causing deficiency are poor diets, malnutrition, impaired absorption, which as you get older becomes a huge issue because it's dependent upon you having a healthy gut to be able to absorb proteins. And proteins, let me tell you, here's a big one. If you got neurologic-based conditions in the family, this is massive because 80% of all the connectors that connect all your nervous system to make them fire is dependent on these 9 essential proteins, as well as you growing, replicating, and healing. So is it big? It's huge. Taking too much is a concern. The problem is our population is taking either inappropriate ones, not absorbing them, or not getting enough. And those that are vegetarian-based, please be concerned. You should be, because you're probably not hitting the numbers you should, creating other problems, because one missing protein can stop your cells from repairing and healing. Infections are an issue, trauma after trauma. Physical trauma and mental emotional trauma can do it. Stress, you need more protein during those times. Drug use, you need more protein. Age imbalances in nutrients, you need more protein. So important because it's 80% of the brain nerve function is mediated by protein. Okay? It moves information from cell to cell throughout your entire body. It's important for the pH balance, alkaline acid balance. So those that have kind of looked at some information on the web and everything, and now this big thing is acid alkaline balance. The truth of the matter is protein is one of your biggest balancers there. And more alkaline you get, the healthier cells you get. The more acidic you get, it promotes disease. You have the right protein balance, you promote alkalinity. So that's another consideration. Deficiency of protein can cause, alone, edema and swelling. If you get it in the legs, 2 things you think about: B vitamins, protein. DNA makeup, I've already mentioned that. The genetic code, generation to generation, is dependent on you getting enough protein. And proteins are not, these 9 essentials are not interchangeable. You actually have to have them in that form, and your body's not going to make them. That's the other part. So they're essential for growth, they provide energy, they're the building blocks, and they're needed for manufacturing hormones, antibodies which fight disease, enzymes which activate everything in the body and all tissues, muscles, ligaments, tendons, organs, glands, nails, hair, vital fluids, the matrix of your very bone, osteoporosis. You don't have enough protein, you can't deposit calcium to anything to help your bone structure. So the bottom line is, proteins are not only important, very important. When you look at the complete proteins, I have them fired up here: meat, fish, poultry, eggs, soybeans, milk, cheese, and yogurt is preferred if you're not dairy intolerant, by the way, okay? You get it from, of course, our friends the cow and the chicken, but you can get them from vegetarian sources. And in our seminar on protein, we cover that in detail, just so you know, okay? So we don't want you to think that protein is everything. We just know that it's an essential aspect of the body that right now is being underserved, and right now is a major concern in our society. And unless we end up getting you to take in more protein, even if you have to cheat, it's worth doing that. Okay? Magnesium is the next on the list. The best form, glycinate and oxide. Again, you'll get more of these details in the magnesium seminar, but I'm going to cover them in short order. Best form, glycinate and oxide. The good forms, carbonate, chelate, citrate, malate, and aspartate. Remember, you can stop this and replay this over and over. Why is it so important? It controls 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. So bottom line is, you don't have enough magnesium, you don't get the enzymatic reactions, you don't end up having healthy tissues. Food sources, nuts, grains, beans, dark green vegetables, fish, and meat. The conditions it can help, very important: fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. This is one that you need to make sure that's in your diet, and that you're probably supplementing. Most people need it in the United States unless you have a very unique diet. Angina, heart pain, high blood pressure. Oral contraceptives drive magnesium out of the system from the time they're very young, folks. You might have kids at 15, 16 years old on oral contraceptives, on the pill, and you're driving magnesium out of their system, causing other problems. Asthma, autism, chemotherapy support if the doctor supports it, congestive heart failure, osteoporosis, PMS, diabetes, glaucoma, high cholesterol, kidney stones, and of course migraine headaches. Let's go into calcium. The best forms: Hydroxyapatite by far is the highest absorption. Much more expensive, so not necessarily an absolute, but if you can afford it, great form to get it in. Good forms, citrate, gluconate, and aspartate. And the forms I recommend against in most cases, unless they're intermixed with the good forms, is carbonate and lactate for multiple reasons, okay? There's a big difference. When you add magnesium and vitamin D, you get the highest absorption of calcium, and vitamin C enhances calcium as well as iron's absorption. So vitamin C, magnesium, and D are great adjuncts for calcium. Food sources: dairy, sardines, salmon, green leafy vegetables, tofu, carob. Chocolate lovers, find a way to love carob. If you do, you're way ahead of the game in multiple factors. But at least at this point, for calcium, it's a big addition. Almonds, kale, oats. Conditions that may help: broken bones, bone strength and teeth. High blood pressure gets better most of the time if your calcium balance is good. High LDLs or low LDLs. The high cholesterol issue, the gingivitis, which is gum disease, muscle tendon ligament problems, kidney stones. Too little calcium can advance kidney stones. Too much calcium, which usually you have to take a lot, unless you're susceptible to it for some reason, can induce kidney stones. Migraine headaches, osteoporosis, pregnancy, premenstrual syndrome, and rickets. Just so you know, just keep this in mind. That's why calcium magnesium really needs to be together, I think. Zinc, the next one. Best form, picolinate, orotate, not to be taken longer than 3 months. These are great forms, but I don't like them taken long term because they could affect your liver. And if you have problems with liver disease or you're on statin medications or take a lot of acetaminophen, codename Tylenol, you might want to stay away from that form. Use the gluconate, citrate, and chelate forms. Worst forms is sulfate. I don't recommend it. If you go to your bottle and you see zinc in the sulfite form, just get rid of it. Find another form. There's other good forms out there with reasonable pricing. Or you get it at Physicians Premium, which you'll know you're going to get what we say you're going to get, and at least you don't waste money, and you actually get what you're paying for on a consistent basis, because that is a problem in this market. Food sources: meats, all types, fish, most seafood, liver, eggs, legumes, and other beans, and whole grains. Whole grains. I say that again, whole grains. What else does zinc help in your body? Skin problems. We know that makes a difference in acne, diabetes, athletic performance. The more you exercise, the more zinc you need. Common cold and throat dysfunction and problems. We know colds and flus respond to zinc, and it's covered in our cold seminar. Crohn's disease, infertility in males seems to help. Zinc's stored really high in the prostate and the testicles, and that might be the contributor. Macular degeneration seems to get some help. Rheumatoid arthritis. Here's the test. If you can't smell and you can't taste, as you get older, zinc is usually primary, and that's many times why you eat more sugars and salts, because you can't taste anything. Zinc is primary in that area, so look to it. Immunity, wound healing, poor night vision, prostatitis, osteoporosis again, and peptic ulcers. The next one, B6, vitamin B6. Natural form is pyridoxine. You want to get 5-phosphate, pyridoxine 5-phosphate. That's the natural form, the best form to get it in. The synthetic form is hydrochloride, and that form is one that we try to not have you get, but the problem is it's in majority of the vitamins you're going to take. But look at your vitamins. If it doesn't say 5-phosphate, that might not be the one you want to take in the future, okay? Just keep that in mind. Food sources: shellfish, but if you have problems with arthritis, shellfish probably is something you eliminate. So move to the other ones: cabbage, carrots, chicken, fish, meat, eggs, and peas. Deficiencies can have these types of symptoms: carpal tunnel syndrome, depression, confusion, abnormal brain waves followed by convulsions, oddly enough, B6. Patchiness in the skin, scaling of the skin itself, vomiting, recurrent vomiting for no apparent reason that they can find medically. Low blood sugar can be helped. Headaches, flaky skin, canker sores in the side of the mouth, that's a big one. And fatigue, just period, fatigue. B12, you hear about folic acid, B12, they kind of join together. They're common to be deficient because they're hard to absorb. In the natural form, which is very expensive, is cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin is very expensive, so often hydroxycobalamin is the source that you get it in. And I understand you having to do that in some case, but if you're elderly or you have a lot of absorption problems, you might have to spend money on the higher quality B12 just to get it into your system. Okay, keep that in mind. So some of the conditions: asthma, atherosclerosis, bursitis, Crohn's disease, depression, diabetes, high blood pressure, infertility is in male, remember zinc and B12, osteoporosis, pernicious anemia, and vitiligo. Okay, food sources: beef, eggs, fish, such as herring and mackerels preferred, even though it might smell a little bit. Kidneys themselves, the meat itself, the organ itself, milk and dairy, and the best vegetables are sea vegetables such as dulse, kelp, kombu, and mori. Vitamin C, what can I say? Huge issue for lots of things. Complete and natural vitamin C are found in certain elements. In other words, natural vitamin C must have these elements to be as close to natural as you can get it. Not just ascorbic acid, but ascorbic acid, bioflavonoids, rutin, and hesperin. Are there other components of it? The answer is yes. If it says rose hips, you're only going to get 1 to 5% rose hips. Don't think you're getting all rose hips. And if you want a fat form of vitamin C, which makes it get into your cells and last longer, something called ascorbyl palmitate is a wonderful, wonderful product. Okay? Food sources: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, blackcurrant, and there's quite a few other types that you can actually use it with. There it is: collards, guava, horseradish, kale, turnip greens, and parsley. What's it help? Abnormal pap smears, allergies, asthma, atherosclerosis, athletic performance, backaches, cataracts, chemotherapy, common colds, diabetes, eczema, gingivitis, glaucoma, hay fever, hepatitis, high blood pressure, cholesterol help, immune and infections, and infertilities in male. So here's the other thing. You need to realize that's an important nutrient. Vitamin D is another one. Natural form is D3, synthetic form D2. Cod liver oil, the sources: cod liver oil or cod in fish, liver oils, tuna, salmon, dairy, egg yolks, dandelions, by the way, you don't want to necessarily get them out of your yard after they've been sprayed, and then general greens. What's it help? Crohn's disease, migraine headaches, osteoporosis, psoriasis, rickets, diabetes, osteoporosis, hypertension, musculoskeletal diseases, epilepsy, cardiovascular diseases, metabolic syndrome, which can lead to diabetes and many other types of conditions, depression, autoimmune diseases, multiple sclerosis, polycystic ovaries, for those that have that problem, look into this. It could make a difference, and cancers of the breast and prostate and colon. Okay? So here's your top 10. Folic acid, essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, proteins, magnesium, calcium, iron, vitamin B6, B12, vitamin C, and vitamin D. Very helpful. Make sure that you know where to buy them, the type to buy them in, the food sources to get them in, and the conditions they help. That was the source of why it's so important for you to select good quality products such as Physicians Premium or others that match that type of a line, because then you know you're buying a good product that makes a big difference. Okay? So hopefully today was helpful. I know it was a bit of a long session, but getting those top 10 in, you can start at least screening your family and making better decisions. We hope you've enjoyed today's top nutritional deficiencies of the United States of America that are very common in you and I, and that could help you with the symptoms that you presently are suffering from. This is Dr. Benzinger on Health with secondopinion.org. We'll look for you next time. May God bless you.